Wonderhussy here, camping out on some BLM land just north of Quartzsite, Arizona. Quartzsite is a little tiny desert town way down south, about 90 minutes north of Yuma, where it's nice and warm and sunny all winter long. And it's surrounded by pretty much nothing but BLM land. And you know how that goes. You can camp for 14 days for free. And because there's so much BLM land in this area, it's real easy to move around. And a lot of people stay down here all winter long. In fact, Quartzsite has a population of something like 3 for most of the year. But in January and February, the population swells to something like 1 million people. And I'm not kidding. All these snowbirds come down from Canada and the northern US where it's cold and freezing and miserable, because they can come down here in their motorhomes and camp out for free in the desert all winter where it's 60, 70 degrees. Like I said, on this BLM land, you can stay for 14 days for free at a time. And then I think you have to move a certain distance. But like I also said, there's plenty of BLM land out here. So once you burn up your 14 days at one place, you just move on down the road to another place. I mean, it's January 23rd today, and I think the temperature is supposed to be in the 60s, maybe even 70. And you can see the sky is perfectly blue, not a cloud in it. So this is the perfect place to hang out all winter long if you want to escape the cold and you're on a budget. Although budget doesn't always factor into it with some of these RVs. I mean, there are some amazing rigs down here that cost upwards of $250,000. This rig here happens to belong to a friend of mine, and it's really nice, Winnebago, but I'm here to tell you, there are some rigs in town, and also actually in this area of BLM, that make this thing look like a junker. That being said, it is a really nice rig, and he's got a little solar setup and a little gas fire pit that we sat at the last couple nights to watch the super blood wolf eclipse moon. I don't know if you guys saw that where you are, but it was pretty cool a couple nights ago. The moon, well, it was a total lunar eclipse, and then it kind of turned this weird orange-red color. It was pretty spooky. And we had a great view of it out here because with Quartzsite being the only town nearby, there's not a whole lot of light pollution. Unfortunately, I didn't shoot much video while I was down here because it was really windy the last couple days. So windy that my microphone blew away, okay? I have a special microphone I use when it's windy. It's got a big furry cover on it. But it was so friggin' windy that my microphone blew off near this abandoned mine we were exploring. So I wasn't able to get any more audio, which means I couldn't really shoot any video because nobody likes to watch video with wind noise. But it's a lot less windy today. Unfortunately, of course, today's the day I have to go back to Vegas, but it's only a 4-hour drive back to Vegas, so I don't have to leave super early, and I might try to go back into town today and shoot some footage of the town of Quartzsite, because it is a trip. The big social event for many of the snowbirds is the giant swap meet that takes place here in Quartzsite every January and February. It's kind of like a giant carnival, only instead of roller coasters and Ferris wheels, it's a bunch of crazy crap for sale. They have stuff you never even knew you needed. Plus plenty of other random gifts. But mostly, the swap meet caters to older, retired folks, and they know their audience. Maybe they know their audience a little too well. In the big tent here, they hold what's called the main event, a sort of capitalist free-for-all where you can buy anything and everything to make RV life easier. Now, some of this stuff is actually useful for life on the road. Solar panels, composting toilets, leak-proof roofing materials. But most of it, quite frankly, is just a bunch of useless, gimmicky crap that no one living in an RV really has room for, being hawked by a crew of unscrupulous carnies straight out of a sham WOW commercial. There's also a bunch of recruiters looking for what they call work campers, where they basically con you into unglamorous jobs like sugar beet harvesting or Amazon warehouse slave labor in exchange for a free place to park your RV and a few bucks. Like I said, it's a free-for-all. A real old-fashioned American circus. But before you fill your RV with useless crap, you have to have an RV. And they sell plenty of those at the Quartzsite swap meet too. All this on wheels. This is what a $250,000 will get you. And that's without filling the gas tank. It's not all shiny new junk though. It's also people who just come down here and set up camp and sell all the crazy crap they've collected over the years. There is literally acre after acre of tables piled high with all kinds of random old crap for sale. This has to be one of the biggest swap meets in the entire world. This is my favorite kind of booth. Guns, ammo, priceless political collectibles, and rusty old keys. You really can meet all the needs of the retiree lifestyle here at the Quartzsite swap meet. But the swap meet isn't all there is to Quartzsite. Around town you also see a lot of references to High Jolly, and you're probably wondering, what the heck is High Jolly? Well, I was wondering too, but I'm wondering no more. There's this High Jolly monument in the middle of town representing the last camp of High Jolly. Born somewhere in Syria about 1828, died in Quartzsite December 1902. Wow, whoever he was, he must have been pretty important to warrant a monument like this. Well, come to find out if you read this sign, High Jolly was actually a Greek-born Syrian man by the name of Haji Ali, who was basically hired as a camel herder to drive a camel corps along this wagon road they were establishing from New Mexico and Arizona to the banks of the Colorado River. I guess they hired him because his Greek and Syrian background made him familiar with camels and he was a good camel driver. Anyway, I guess the soldiers couldn't pronounce Haji Ali, so they changed it to High Jolly in the finest American tradition of butchering names. Anyway, you can pause the video and read the whole thing if you want to, but basically what ended up happening is the Army Corps of Engineering, or whoever it was that had the idea of using these camel corps, abandoned the idea and they just left the camels to wander around this part of the desert where supposedly they survived for many years. Also in the finest American tradition of abandoning animals. Aside from camel herders, Quartzsite is also popular with rock hounds and gem collectors. You can really get your rocks off in Quartzsite. But my favorite thing in all of Quartzsite is this used bookstore. It's open all year round, not just when the swap meet is in season. And it's run by this awesome leathery nudist man who wears nothing but a leather pouch over his genitals in the name of decency. And depending on the weather, sometimes a sweater and socks with his sandals. Unfortunately, because this is YouTube, I can't show you what he looks like, but here's a censored photo I took with him once. This really is a cool bookstore, though. I'm gonna get these old Louis L'Amour paperbacks so I can make some more fake covers of my own. Anyway, they do this every winter in Quartzsite, and it's really a sight to see. Even if you don't have any spending money, it's fun to just walk around and people watch. And then you can camp out for free in the desert in the warm winter sun. It's better than spring break in Fort Lauderdale.